guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited. As it's Friday, for some reason I was about to say Thursday. My days are all mixed up with still moving and getting everything into the house and this and that. My days are a little mixed up, but it's Friday, and tonight was Friday Night Smackdown. A really good episode of Friday Night Smackdown. One of the bigger episodes we've seen in a very long time. An important, I would say, episode of Friday Night Smackdown. A lot of building towards the future here with different storylines and progression in things with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton involved in that, possibly whatever they're going to do there, and so much more. Also, I hate that I got so much dead space here. I'm still trying to get the camera and everything situated properly. So I do appreciate you guys bearing with me why it still doesn't look perfect. But we got a lot to talk about. As again, like I said, a big episode of Friday Night Smackdown. So much happened on this show. But with that, also, I do want to give a shout out, not a shout out, but send my condolences to the Hall family, Dana Hall, Forrest Hall. They lost their son. Well, Dana lost her son. Forrest lost his brother, James Hall. I've known them since third grade. Basically, I lived in LA. When we moved up to Central California, I was in third grade, and James was the first friend I made at school in a new place, a place that I was brand new. I'd only lived there for less than a month, and knew him since third grade, all throughout high school. We hung out all the time, had all the same friends and everything, always went out, rode dirt bikes together and this and that. And this past Wednesday, James and his girlfriend Monica tragically passed away. They were actually found drowned at the waterfalls above Bass Lake in California. So I do want to send my condolences out to the Hall family. Know the whole family very well, known them for so long. And so, yeah, again, do want to send my condolences out to the Hall family as we've lost James Hall and his girlfriend, I think fiance Monica. I know he was at one point going to propose. I don't know if he actually did eventually propose. But yeah, so again, deepest condolences to them. And maybe we'll do like a charity stream or something here, or maybe, you know what, any super chats or any kind of bit donations we get on YouTube or Twitch, I mean, all that I want to give to the family. I want to help the family. I know they were doing a candlelight vigil tonight. I don't know anything past that. I'll find out this weekend probably about like a funeral or anything, but I want to help them out. And so if you guys do want to maybe donate or something, all super chats starting today till next week for the next full week at least, or any bit donations, I will donate to the family in James's name. So that's something that I really want to do for a friend that I've known since third grade. Man, that would be, let me do the math there, how long I've known James. That's been since 96, I want to say, 1996. So what's the math on that? Why did my calculator disappear? That would have been, so I've known him since 96, third grade. Yeah, I'm old. 2024 minus 1996. I know him for 28 years. Now, granted, after high school, we kind of drifted apart, but every time I saw him, it was like, hey, what's up? This, that. Like, we never stopped hanging out. So, yeah, again, everything we make here from super chats or bit donations or even any new members or Patreon subscribers, all the money from that, I'm going to donate to the family. With that, again, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to help us out over on YouTube. Over there on YouTube, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel to know when we post new videos, know when we go live, and know when we post things to the community tab. Also, if you want to support the channel in another way, you can become a channel member by hitting the join button. Even if you subscribe at just the $1 tier, it greatly, greatly, greatly helps out the channel. And remember, all new member subscriptions for the next week, if not longer, I will be donating all that money to the Hall family in the name of James Hall. And again, same thing with super chats over the next week. If you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're taking advantage of their Epic Savings deal right now, maybe you're pre-ordering Madden 25, pre-ordering Assassin's Creed Shadows, or getting an older game like Ghost of Tsushima or Tomb Raider, the Definitive Edition. Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Use our code PW Unlimited at checkout and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Maybe you're claiming the free game, Freshly Frosted, which I'm about to do right now. I've heard good things about this game. Haven't played it myself, but if you're claiming Freshly Frosted, the free game, all you got to do, put in our code, PWU NLIMITED, for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. But with that, as far as tonight's a Friday night Smackdown does go, and give me 1 second, I just got a message here. Okay, whoa. Okay, so Fightful's got some new info. We'll talk about that later on the Jacob Fatu debut tonight. Huge news coming out of that. I haven't read the Fightful report yet, but someone just sent me, hey, go check Fightful's report, see what they said. So let me pull that up. So when we get there at the end, I have it readily available already. So let's go to Fightful Select. Because again, big news tonight. We had the CM Punk Drew McIntyre stuff, which was crazy as hell. Jacob Fatu finally debuted, which I want to say Rikishi spoiled it. I want to say Rikishi spoiled it on Twitter. I'm going to pull up the tweet right here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I want to say Rikishi spoiled it. Let's go to Twitter. Let's go to Rikishi. Let's pull this up on the screen. Pull this up here on the screen. Why is it not? There we go. So this was posted earlier today at, I want to say, 12 p.m. Central Time, 12:30 Central Time. And it says, boom, unleash the Samoan Beast. And so my brain starts going, oh, we're getting Jacob. Jacob could be debuting tonight. Jacob Fatu, or whatever name they give him. Again, whoo, glad they didn't change his name. But I think, yeah, I could say Rikishi spoiled it. But regardless of that, we've got a big show to talk about. We got people qualifying for Money in the Bank. Drew McIntyre almost killed CM Punk, and so much more. So the show opens up. We get a little video recap, a bunch of different things, like Clash of the Castle, especially CM Punk's involvement in the main event. Corey Graves then welcomes everybody to the show, noting, hey, we're in Chicago. And the crowd's already chanting, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. And then we hear, well, Living Color. Look in my eyes. What do you see? A cult of personality. And we get a huge pop from the crowd in Chicago for CM Punk, and boy, was this segment awesome. Just Punk out there by himself. Then when Paul Heyman came out and the interaction with CM Punk and Solo slowly kind of a little bit, all of this was great. Cody coming out at the end of this. I thought this hit on all levels. So Punk comes down to the ring. He soaks in the adulation from his hometown crowd. And I sent out a tweet earlier. And my question was, has there ever been a wrestler so, what's the word I'm looking for, tied to a hometown city as much as CM Punk is to Chicago? Now I get it, Bret Hart in Canada. That's what people are going to say. Oh, Bret Hart in Canada. But most people can't say the city that Bret Hart is from. Most people can't say, oh, Bret Hart is from, what was it, Montreal? I don't even fully know. Montreal, right? I think it's Montreal or is it Toronto? Calgary. See, I'm dumb. Calgary. But you never. So you might forget that like I just did. But you're going to never, ever forget that CM Punk's from Chicago. Messiah says Cena in Boston. No, you're wrong because Cena is not from Boston. Cena is not from Boston. Cena is from Westbury, New Massachusetts. New Westbury. What is it? It's always confusing to me. John. Cena is not actually from Boston, so you're wrong there. Cena is from West Newbury, Massachusetts. Close to Boston, but he is not from Boston. So, right there, you're already wrong. You think he's from Boston, but he's not from Boston. That's the one I was thinking of, Larry. Larry said Flair and Charlotte. That's the closest that I can think of a wrestler tied to their hometown. Granted, that's not even Flair's actual hometown. Flair's originally from Michigan. Flair only ended up moving to Charlotte after he got into wrestling in Crockett. So, that's a thing. But Punk, born and bred, Chicago's own. I don't think there is another wrestler that you're never going to forget their hometown, and they're so tied to the hometown, doing things in the hometown. He's always at Blackhawk games, and he does stuff with baseball teams. I don't know if he does Cubs or White Sox. I'm not 100% sure. I've seen him in both. But yeah, Punk in Chicago, you're never going to forget Punk in Chicago. It's like whenever there's a WWE show at Chicago, you got to have Punk on the show, regardless of the brand. Correct. Did I say Michigan? I meant Minnesota, Larry. If I said Michigan, I think I might have. I apologize. I was wrong on that one. I meant Minnesota. I was thinking the M state up there, Minnesota. Anyways, so Punk sits cross-legged and lets the crowd die down a little bit. Punk was given a microphone. The crowd's chants get louder. Punk said it's great to be alive in Chicago, on TV on Fox, on a Friday night. He says that he's got the pressure of being here live. Punk talked about pressure and wondered if he could handle that pressure. He referenced 2011 when he said that he would walk out WWE champion. Punk asked the crowd if he embarrassed Chicago, and the fans repeatedly yelled no. Before long, Punk brought up McIntyre and said that he kicked both Punk and Chicago. Punk outlined 3 options: stay down, turn the other cheek, or essentially kill Drew's career. Shockingly, it was the third option that Punk wanted to choose. The talk turned to Drew quitting this past Monday on Raw. Punk said that Drew couldn't take the pressure, and Punk made bad things happen to Drew McIntyre. Out of nowhere, Paul Heyman's voice would appear, ladies and gentlemen. And the crowd gasped and began chanting for ECW. Heyman walked to the ring and said that he was running late. Heyman noted how Punk sat next to Heyman's children when Heyman was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Heyman remembered how he said Punk is his best friend. The crowd began a "We Want Roman" chant, which was very, very loud. Heyman entered the ring and hugged CM Punk. The crowd erupted. Tears started to flow from Heyman's face, Heyman's eyes getting redder and redder by the moment. He said, "I needed this hug." Heyman said that he heard on the radio that Chicago is CM Punk's town. Heyman noted that Solo Koa is pissed off. Heyman described Solo as the new head of the table, but only begrudgingly. Heyman said that he was out here to tell Punk, you need to leave the ring right now, or Solo and the Bloodline are going to come for you. Heyman pointed out the extra security tonight is not for Solo. Solo and his guys are going to do what they want to do, and they take things a little too far sometimes. Heyman said, Punk, quote, please get the hell out of the ring right now. Those words inspired Punk kind of look around, and the crowd chanted for CM Punk. Punk said if Heyman was serious about Punk leaving, Punk asked, are you really serious about me getting out of this ring? That's not what I do. And Solo's music would hit. He, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa would come down to the ring. Solo then said, you got 2 options. 1, Punk pays his respect to the Bloodline, or 2, they make sure Punk never gets cleared again to wrestle. Punk turned to Heyman, who said if Punk leaves, he wants a favor. For Punk, and Punk said, what's that favor? He said, take me with you. And I almost lost it. I was like, excuse me, what? Take me with Punk doesn't, or Heyman wants to be away from Solo so bad. Like, I don't. To me, Solo hasn't seemed that bad yet, as far as like a bad guy, gang member, leader, whatever you want to call him. To the point where it's like, what has he really done that Heyman needs to get away? But Heyman said, take me with you. Crowd starts chanting yes. Punk then said, you know what? I'm going to acknowledge you. Because, well, I see a bunch of fake-ass Usos in front of me right now and a phony tribal chief. And I was like, oh, damn. Punk then squared up as the Bloodline circled the ring. They got in the ring, and out would come the WWE Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes. Came out with a couple of baseball bats, gave one to Punk, and the Bloodline retreated. Cody then grabbed a microphone and said, hey, Solo, call yourself the head of the table. I've already beat one head of the table, so I don't mind beating another one tonight. Keep your boys in the back. Randy and Kevin, they said they'll stay in the back, and I challenge you to a match later tonight. You and me one-on-one. Solo gets this mean look on his face, and Cody's music hits, ending the segment. So great opening segment here on SmackDown with CM Punk, Paul Heyman, Cody, the Bloodline. All of it was great. All played perfectly. Everyone did what they were supposed to do greatly. Like, I loved all of this, especially the Heyman stuff. Because we know the history, the friendship that there is there with CM Punk and Paul Heyman. Again, Paul Heyman says that CM Punk is his best friend in the world. So, next up, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair were backstage. Bianca was just warming up a little bit. She got the rubber bands. She's in gorilla position, waiting for her music to hit for her Money in the Bank qualifier. When Jade comes up and goes, hey, I got some stuff to talk to you about. I know you're busy. You got a qualifying match tonight for Money in the Bank. But when you're done with that, I'll go talk to Nick Aldis about getting a rematch for our tag titles. Bianca's like, I get you, but I got to focus right now. Like, I need to focus because I need this. And Jade's like, I understand. I get it. Go do you, boo. They then announced that Cody versus Solo later tonight is going to be official. Cody was shown backstage walking around. He ran into Randy and Kevin. Orton asked Cody if he really wanted to face Solo later. Cody told him, just trust me. Owen said the Bloodline always has a plan. Cody said he knows. And he has a plan as well. But what was Cody's plan then? For Kevin and Randy to be in the wings, waiting, ready to come out if need be? That was it. He didn't have nobody else to help him. Especially when Jacob came out, so we'll see. I don't know what Cody's plan was. We got a triple threat. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match qualifier. Chelsea Green, Michin, and Bianca Belair. Going into this match, everyone's like, Bianca? No way Bianca doesn't win. But that wasn't the case. And I'm glad, because Chelsea Green in Money in the Bank, potentially winning. That's the one I want to win. I want Chelsea winning, but potentially winning. And Chelsea Green, oh, buddy. Chelsea with that briefcase would be so amazing. So great. So I thought this was a really good match. Great TV match. I thought these three worked well together in a awesome surprise finish that basically nobody saw coming. So Michin and Belair teamed up on Green early on to start the match, and Green rolled to the outside. From there, Michin and Belair went one-on-one for a minute, and Green returned to the ring eventually and punched Belair, but Green was quickly dispatched. The action spilled to the outside, where Belair punched Michin, and Michin punched Belair. Out of nowhere, Green landed a suicide dive and acted surprised, like, oh, I hit it! Because we know Chelsea's a great wrestler. We know when Chelsea Green is not this character, I guess you would say, she's awesome in the ring. Like I was saying for a long time, she was like her Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo. I had said for a while before Deonna went to AEW were the best women in pro wrestling not signed to AEW or WWE. Now it's Jordan Grace, the best not signed to WWE or AEW, the two biggest companies in the world. But I always thought those three, when Chelsea's not being the gimmick, whether that was back in TNA when she was the hot mess and just crazy there, or now she's this gimmick now where like she's supposed to not be good in the ring. When she turns it on for real, Chelsea Green's amazing. So she hits the dive and then shocks herself, like I said. The show then goes to commercial break with Green standing tall. The show returns, and Green was the recipient of a tandem back suplex from the top rope. Belair and Michin got to their feet and exchanged some strikes until Belair caught Michin and lifted her. Michin countered with a sunset flip and ultimately a neat defeat. Belair was on the outside. Green rolled up Michin and only got a 2 off of it. Green slapped Michin and Michin headbutted Green. From there, Michin hit a Styles Clash on Green and may have won the match, but Belair broke up the pin. Or actually, supposed to, but didn't. Yeah, it was all kind of weird. Belair then hit a release German suplex on Michin, which looked really, really good, followed up with the KOD. But as Belair was about to go for the pin, Chelsea ran in, grabbed Bianca, threw her out of the ring, jumped on Michin. 1, 2, 3. Chelsea shocks the world and qualifies for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was perfect. Chelsea Green is now in the ladder match, and I want her to win. I'm just going to say it right now. I want Chelsea Green winning this goddamn ladder match. So we go backstage, and Bayley's there. She's shown just standing around when Blair Davenport would approach. Blair tells her, I'm in a qualifier next week. Girl Naomi's in the match too. Tell Naomi she ain't winning, I'm winning. And then I'm going to cash in on you. Bayley kind of gave her a look like, oh, damn, okay. Like, not concerned, but concerned at the same time if that's a thing. We go to the Bloodline locker room. Sikoa was shown talking to Heyman in the Bloodline's room. Sikoa told Heyman to tell the Tongans something, but then the audio kind of cut out, which is weird. They referenced that later, too. Heyman looked very nervous, and Sikoa said if he tells Heyman to do something, Heyman better do it. Sikoa said that he and Heyman also need to have a talk later. Now, I don't know if this was on purpose or not. It seemed like it may have been for the audio cutting out. Could it have been? Solo said, go tell the Tongans Jacob's here. Could it have been? I don't know. They got a video recapping Grayson Waller and Austin Theory and DIY last week on the Grayson Waller effect. Waller was interviewed backstage by Caleb Braxton. He said that Theory was at home and he's going to qualify for Money in the Bank tonight in Austin Theory's honor. DIY then walked into frame, and all of a sudden we started hearing bah, 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 bah on the big garage door. You kind of look around and like, what the hell is going on? They kind of all disperse. The door slowly starts to roll up as it gets, I don't know, about a quarter of the way up. We see CM Punk laying there, and we see legs, and we know exactly what this is. It goes higher and higher and higher until it reveals, well, there's Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has viciously assaulted CM Punk. He stands over CM Punk's body for a moment before grabbing CM Punk and throwing him up on his shoulders. With CM Punk up on his shoulders, we see CM Punk's blood on both hands of Drew McIntyre and blood all over the face of CM Punk. Drew, with Punk on his shoulders, walks through the back, goes through Gorilla, and drops Punk at the top of the ramp. This is when officials and everybody run out, and I love Nick Aldis as the GM. Nick Aldis runs out, gets right in Drew's face, and shoves him. Drew shoves him back. Nick, again, kind of bows up to Drew, and EMTs come out. They put CM Punk on a back brace. They're going to get him out of here, and yeah, commentary was just silent here. They didn't know what to do or what to say or how to react. I thought this was all very, very well done. We've learned that Drew McIntyre knew Punk was going to be in Chicago, so he showed up in Chicago, and when Punk was least expecting it, he beat the shit out of CM Punk, to the point where we learned later Punk's got to stay overnight at hospital. So Nick Aldis actually accompanied Punk to the ambulance and told Punk it would be okay after the show, and told Punk it would be okay after the show returned from a break. He's like, hey, you're going to be fine. You're going to be good, da-da-da. Punk was not really responsive, though. Did the whole thing, close the ambulance, take it off, boom, there we go. This then led us into the next men's qualifying match for Money in the Bank. The first men's tonight. The next qualifying match, the first one for the men's. It was Carmelo Hayes, Tama Tonga, and Randy Orton. So looking at this, making a prediction going into it, I'm like, I don't think it's going to be Randy. I think Randy and Tama Tonga, there's going to be something there, and then it was Carmelo Hayes. So I thought, you know what? They put Hayes in this match. Hayes will do well in the ladder match. Hayes needs the win. Hayes has not been the best on the main roster as far as booking wise does go. But Heyman's introduction was not televised. Orton stared down Tama Tonga, and the heels attacked Orton at the start. Tonga shoved Hayes, and he stomped them. That led to the heels arguing. It actually spilled outside, where Orton set up for a back suplex on Tama Tonga, but Hayes stopped Orton. Tonga then returned the favor on Hayes, or for Hayes. Tonga and Hayes then took turns attacking Orton until Orton inadvertently hit the signature back suplex, the first on Tonga and then a second on Hayes. Commentary table didn't break. Show quickly went to a break, and we come back. Hayes and Tonga were battling inside the ring as the show came back from a break. Tonga momentarily got the better of Carmelo until Hayes planted Tonga and got a 2 count. Tonga came back with the backbreaker, but Orton reappeared and broke up Tonga's pin. Orton then hit a snap power slam on Tonga and a superplex on Mello from the second rope. Tonga then broke up the pin attempt and worked a sleeper hold on Orton until Orton woke out of it. Tonga then hit a clunky face buster on Orton, but Hayes broke up the pin attempt. Hayes and Tama Tonga then kind of started a fight a little bit, kind of whatnot. Orton then came back into the mix and landed a stereo draping DDT on both men. Orton then set it for an RKO, but Tama Tonga ran out to distract Orton. As a result, Hayes then rolled Orton up and pinned him to pick up the victory. Hayes then posed on the commentary table after the match to celebrate his win. So there we go. Carmelo Hayes has qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match. He's now the second man to qualify as far as Jey Uso on Monday. And now, Carmelo Hayes here tonight. And there was still one more qualifying match later. So as we move forward, we had LA Knight making his way down to the ring. Yeah. Knight came out and asked for Logan Paul to come down. Nothing happened. Knight recalled how he told Paul that he was going after the U.S. title. Knight said that Paul no-showed here in Chicago as far as he knows. Knight said the time is running out. And next week, well, Logan Paul has to be at Smackdown at Madison Square Garden because they are both in a qualifying match for the Money in the Bank ladder match together. He's like, I'm going to win that. I'm going to take that briefcase. I'm going to cash it in on you, bud. This is when Santos Escobar would come down to the ring with a microphone basically saying, hey, I'm in that ladder match qualifier as well. Don't overlook me. Don't be delusional. Called LA Knight nothing more than a fanboy. Knight said that next week, Knight would be wise to remember he's dealing with Escobar as well. Knight noted how he beat Escobar each time they've ever met in the ring. This then soon led to the two fighting for a moment and Escobar eating a BFT. Knight started to talk into the camera when, well, he was attacked from behind by Logan Paul. From there, Paul did the shittiest looking little knockout punch thing. It was kind of like, from like way back far for some reason. And they're like, oh, he's got a steel titanium plate in his hand. Don't forget. And then, yeah. Paul then, first, I don't know what this was, but he like grabbed his phone, showed the time. It was 8:17 p.m. And he was like, oh, it took me 30 minutes. Oh, it took me 30 minutes. And I'm like, 30 minutes for fucking what? 30 minutes for what? So, yeah. They're building that up. The rumor and report is that match will be taking place in Chicago. Not Chicago. We're in Chicago. Cleveland SummerSlam. So speaking of Money in the Bank qualifiers, we had another one here. It was Kevin Owens, Grayson Waller, and Andrade. Also, I love that they're actually saying Andrade is a speed champion. They never did it for Ricochet. But they talked about Andrade being the speed champion. Andrade having the quickest victory in speed history so far. So, cool. They're finally acknowledging it. But during Owens' entrance, Owens was actually attacked by the Bloodline until Randy Orton came out with a chair to make the save. They played it up as Owens injured his knee here, but he limped down to the ring and told the ref, I'm good to go, let's go. And commentary played it up like Kevin Owens is a badass, and even with one leg, he's going to fight for his opportunity. At the inside of the match, Andrade hit Waller with a spinning elbow and got a close near fall here. The action spilled to the outside where Owens hit a swanton. As he then fought on the apron, Andrade somehow hit a sunset flip over the top, threw a powerbomb on Grayson Waller. I thought he killed Grayson Waller because Grayson Waller's head bounced off the mats below on the floor. His head and neck all kind of just like all together. This looks scary as all get out. Like, oh my God, scary. When the show returned, the three were battling in the ring like nothing bad happened. Waller briefly had control until Andrade sent Waller into the turnbuckle. Andrade had a brief time to shine until Owens got to his feet and the two brawled. Waller returned and planted both guys, but couldn't seal the deal. Waller then yelled, "A-Town down!" and lifted Owens, but Owens worked out of it. Waller took Owens out by kicking his knee. Andrade chopped the hell out of Waller, and the two battled on the second rope until Owens popped up and slammed both opponents. Owens went to the top rope and landed a swanton on Andrade, which led to a good near fall. Owens immediately hit a stunner on Andrade and went to go for the pin, but Waller broke it up. Waller then kicked Owens' knee and went for a rolling move on Andrade back into the ring. He did that one where, like, he jumps from the floor into the ring, does the roll, and then he tries to do it up and do like the clothesline kind of deal or whatever. But Andrade caught him, and whatever that new finisher he's doing it is. And then bing, bang, boom, pins him 1, 2, 3. Andrade is now the third man to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So, gotta love it. Gotta love seeing Andrade getting the opportunity here. Andrade getting booked for the ladder match. Don't see Andrade winning Money in the Bank, but it's great to see Andrade in the match itself, though. So Meechin was shown backstage. Tiffany Stratton walks up. Stratton tried to hit Meechin, and Meechin blocked it and punched Stratton. Nia Jackson showed up and ran Meechin into a dresser. Okay. They teased something with Meechin and Tiffany last week, too, where Tiffany, like, got water all in her face. We're leading to a Meechin-Tiffany match. Meechin, the hardest working person in WWE right now. She's on everything. If she can also be on Raw, she'd be on Raw. She's working NXT pay-per-views, Smackdown. She's at everything. So we learned a couple qualifying matches for next week. Next week, we got two women's qualifying matches. It's Candice LeRae, Jade Cargill, and Tiffany Stratton. Then in the other one, it's Naomi, Indy Hartwell, and Indy Hartwell and Blair Davenport. Then for the men, Logan Paul, LA Knight, and Santos Escobar. This then leads us to our main event and main event angle. So it's Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa. No seconds. No Tongas, or Tongans, I guess you would call them. The Tongans. And no Orton, no Owens. So we're out there. Cody makes his entrance first. And this is just screaming, something big's about to happen. Because I'm like, oh, there's less than 10 minutes in this show, and they're not going to have that short of a match. I think it was really only like 8 minutes left in the show. And I'm like, yeah, this match ain't going that short. So, where was I? The bell rings. And Cody and Solo stood in the ring and kind of stared at each other for a moment. Sikoa ran at Cody, and the action spills to the outside pretty quickly. Cody hit a suicide dive and ran Sikoa into the ring steps. Cody set up for a crossroads, but Tama Tonga and Tangaloa attack, and boom, DQ finish. This then leads to Randy Orton's music hitting, Orton coming out, Owens coming out, all 6 men battling in the ring. Heyman's out there looking very dejected. Baby faces, though, get the upper hand as they throw the Tongans out, and it's Solo back down in the corner like, leave me, don't get me. And then he kind of starts to get a smirk and smile on his face. Camera pans out, and it's still you only see that one section of the ring. Solo down here, Kevin, Cody, Randy here above him. You then hear the crowd slowly start to stir. And Solo even more gets a bigger smirk on his face. And then we see Jacob Fatu. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob lost some weight. Jacob Fatu has slimmed down. Hold on, give me a second here. I'm gonna look something. Because Jacob Fatu looks like he slimmed down some. Which, if Jacob Fatu slims down, not saying he was a big boy, he was a bigger guy. But he was a bigger guy doing things like a smaller guy. So if he's smaller now, just think of his high flying, like that movie did. Anyways. Fatu appears and gives Owen a Samoan drop on the ring steps. Fatu then spears Orton through the barricade. Gets this wild Samoan look on his face right in the camera. The perfect look to show how wild and crazy this guy is. And they're calling him Jacob Fatu. They said, that's Jacob Fatu. Oh, my God. And so, no name change. Gotta love it. Cody tries Fatu, but that led to Fatu slamming Cody on the ring apron. Fatu then put Cody on the commentary table and climbs in the ring. Climbs to the top rope and literally hits a splash from the top all the way to the commentary table, splashing Cody through the table as the crowd starts to chant, holy shit. Solo then hugs Fatu, and both guys raise the finger in the middle of the ring. Tongans slowly get in. Tama Tonga on one side, Tonga Loa on the other. They raise the one finger as well. And we have 4 members of the bloodline posing all together as the show goes off the air. This was awesome. They showed you how much of a beast, an animal, a destroyer that Jacob Fatu is. And I can't wait to see how he is portrayed in WWE. I know right now he's going to be the extra guy here. He's the 4th in the bloodline, and whatever this version of the bloodline is. But whenever they're ready to break him off, Jacob Fatu is going to be a major star in this company. Once people figure out what this guy is all about and how good he is, there have been many that say he may be the best athlete in the entire family. Some say he's better than Roman. Some say, at least that, some say maybe even better than Rock. I've seen it. But some say that Jacob Fatu, as an athlete in pro wrestling, may be the best in the entire family. We'll see how it all does go, but I love it. It's so good to see. He waited long enough. He's been signed since the week of WrestleMania. And yeah, Jacob Fatu is here. And I'm ready for Jacob Fatu to fuck some people up. Give me Jacob Fatu versus Kevin Owens. Give me Jacob Fatu versus Randy Orton. Okay, give me Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes. Title or no title, I don't care. That match, all those matches are going to hump, as the kids say. So that was Friday Night Smackdown. A great show, a good show with an awesome, awesome ending. But with that, get the poll up here on Twitch, because you guys know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's Friday Night Smackdown. Let's get this poll going right here. What do you think of SmackDown? I liked it. It was alright. I didn't like it. So if you're watching on Twitch, go vote now. Poll is live as we check the other polls. Let's refresh these polls really quickly. Refresh, refresh, refresh. As far as the Threads poll does go, 64% liked the show, 27% didn't like the show, and 9% thought it was just all right. It's an interesting one. As far as the, wrong Twitter account. As far as the Twitter X poll does go, 88% liked the show, 5% thought it was just all right, and 5% didn't like it. As far as the YouTube community poll does go, 85% liked the show, 10% thought it was just all right, and 5% didn't like it. So in the comments here is, we got Wyatt6, Joe Hendry, and Jacob Fatu. This is amazing. Well, Joe Hendry's not signed in WWE. Joe Hendry's not here to stay. May make a couple more appearances in NXT, but that's all it is. He's signed to TNA. Person says, and I missed it, and then just a couple hearts and the ones. As far as the YouTube live poll does go, 87% liked the show, 10% thought it was just all right, and 3% didn't like it. Finally, as far as everybody voting over on the Twitch, 67% liked it, 33% thought it was just all right. So with that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up here. I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We'll be back on Monday for Monday Night Raw. No wrestling this weekend, really. I mean, nothing major that we're going to go live and talk about. So with that, have a great night. Oh, wait. Yes, Howie. Thank you. Thank you. Before we wrap this up, the Fightful update on Jacob Fatu. Thank you for reminding me. I have it right here. We'll read that really quickly. So Fightful did report, basically at the end of SmackDown, quote, Jacob Fatu has debuted on WWE Smackdown as a member of the Bloodline. Fatu has been signed to WWE for months and was backstage at WrestleMania and was around WrestleMania weekend. We had never been given firm debut plans, though we were given we had been an implied reason as to why it took so long. On recent Fightful podcast, it had been noted that Jacob Fatu had never wrestled outside the United States. MLW sources had previously indicated that was because Fatu's criminal record when he was younger, and a life he left far behind him. However, it was noted that prevented him from accepting bookings outside the United States. We're not sure if that will be a case moving forward, but we were told that with the huge number of international PLE events and television tapings WWE had in the spring and summer, that was likely a possible hurdle. In the past, his history was a primary reason that he'd not been hired by WWE. However, we're told that WWE's newest regime had long been interested in Fatu. Fightful Sean Rossap was told that Fatu made immediate good impressions within WWE and had a very respectful approach to everyone backstage. Fatu's father, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa's father teamed up for years in the 1980s. With that is the update on Jacob Fatu, just basically saying he's been around for a while. With WWE being so international earlier this year, that may have been why they waited. Now we go and we see exactly where this leads to. With that, if we do hear anything further on Jacob Fatu and his debut tonight on SmackDown, which is awesome, I'll have it for you right here for Wrestling Unlimited. With that, guys, I want to say have a great night. Have a great weekend. See you back here Monday for Monday Night Raw. Have a good one, guys.